First of all, I know this is my first video on this channel, and if you found this for some odd reason, I really hope you enjoy it. I wanted to create this channel and create these videos just to talk about things that I'm very passionate about, and whether 1,000 people end up watching this video or only 10 people end up watching this video, I'm thankful for both scenarios. And today I want to talk about, on this very first topic on this channel, something that I have worked in for 5 years now, and that is corporate America. And if you live in America, lately things have felt a little bit weird. And I think there's a plethora of reasons for that, and we'll probably dive into more of these reasons in future videos. But I think one of the biggest letdowns that I've had in my life is corporate America. When I was growing up and I was in high school, I always dreamed of going to college, getting a high-paying job, and living that American dream that I'm sure we were all told about. And I did just that. I went to college, I got a degree in computer science. I'm getting near 30 years of age, which is wild to say. And I've worked in corporate America for almost 6 years now. And to say the least, I've been pretty disappointed with corporate America. And I feel like if you're in corporate America, you likely feel the same. At first, I thought maybe it was just me. Maybe the company I worked for was a little bit disappointing. And then I talked to some friends that are at different companies and work also in corporate America, and it turns out no, this seems to be prevalent across the board. And I like to use analogies a lot because I think it helps get a point across more effectively. And so I'm going to start off with this. Let's say I have a girlfriend, and let's say I tell all of my friends when they ask, tell me something about her, and I say, well, she lies often, she's very manipulative, she breaks a lot of her promises, and she blames a lot of the issues that she created onto me when I had nothing to do with them. You'd probably say, wow, you might want to reconsider dating her. You might want to actually break up with her if these are all true. And what if I flipped that? What if I said, I wasn't actually talking about my girlfriend, I'm talking about corporate America? Because all of those things, I think, hold true to what I've seen in corporate America. And if we were to look at a hierarchy, and the top of the triangle is obviously the executive suite, and then down below at the bottom of the triangle is where people like me are, and majority of the workers, I'm not referring to that bottom part of the triangle. I'm referring to the top piece. Because unfortunately, all of those things I just described, they do constantly. So I have worked at my job, like I said, coming up on 6 years. And in 6 years, I've been through 4 CEOs. Just to preface, back in high school, I used to work at a restaurant, and we would get new employees every week or every month. Someone would quit, someone would come back in, and it was just a rotating, revolving door of people coming in and out, making minimum wage and hating their job and then leaving for something that was very similar. And I stuck around for years while in high school, so I got to see all of this constantly. And I always thought to myself, when I get a professional job, that won't be a thing. And never in my wildest dreams would I think not only would it be a rotating door still, but it would be in the executive suite, because that's exactly what I saw. And it's not just the CEOs, it's the CIOs and the COOs and all the VPs. It's just a constant game of, hey, let's build my resume and pretend I did something huge and transformative at this company, and then I can post that on LinkedIn and get a better paying VP job somewhere else with a little bit of a better bonus structure. And so quite recently, that's exactly what happened. We hired a new CIO about a year ago, and they had this bright idea that we were just going to reorganize my entire department. And that meant terminating my boss's position, my direct manager, terminating my boss's position, and then also terminating my boss's boss position, if I said that correctly. So not only was my boss removed, but my boss's boss was removed, and my director was removed. And this was all from the great idea of our CIO to better align with the business unit. By the way, I'm in IT, so I might be talking about this differently than what you're used to hearing. And because of this, there was a lot of confusion. I was like, well, who's going to be my boss now? And so we eventually reorged. I got a new boss, and my new boss was now the head of 30 plus people, which honestly is impossible to manage. And I haven't heard of anything about this reorg since, because the CIO that made that big transformative decision left the company. And so I really feel like I haven't had a boss for the last 8 months or so. And so that's one aspect of it. But another one is the always fluffing for the shareholders. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the stock market. I think anyone being able to invest in a publicly traded company is a great tool if you have the extra disposable money to put towards that. However, with everything, there is a trade-off. And with that trade-off, you have companies that really cater to the shareholder more than they probably cater to the employee. And so recently we laid off a lot of people. We cut a lot of bonuses for reasons that were made up and weren't that believable. And then what did we do on the flip side? While also doing those things, we raised the dividend of my company stock. And so it's really hard to believe that the company is hurting fiscally and we need to be more conservative with our money when you then go ahead and give up some of your cash and raise the dividend for the shareholders. And right there, I think, is what makes a great executive suite, is how you can find a good balance between the two. It's catering to the shareholders and also catering to your employees, because you can't have this teeter-totter where the shareholders are always heavier and basically on the ground while the employees are up in the air. Because honestly, that can't be sustainable over time. And I think they know this. And I think slowly they're going to try to automate jobs as much as possible. And that's going to be a topic for a different discussion when we talk about AI and automation. But if we step aside and look at the big master plan, perhaps this is one of the things that they think about, is I don't have to cater to the employee much longer, at least not most of them. So why not cater to the thing that's going to still stick around in the end? And that is the shareholder. But all of this to say, I graduated college with the dream of having a job that I enjoyed and that I loved and I felt appreciated, and I could go to work every day and be proud of the work that I did. And what it ended up being is a lot of bureaucratical things and a lot of scheming, and even the lower level managers you could see were scheming and being very political with a lot of their decisions. And overall, I just don't think that's a productive environment, a healthy environment. I don't think that's going to get anyone anywhere except for the person whose only interest is ultimately themselves. And that's not for me to say all corporate America is bad. I think overall, if you get the opportunity to work at that and you're fine with the job itself, take it. Because in the end, the ultimate thing that you should care about is making enough money to live, maybe some extra to invest, and then just enjoy your life outside of work. I wanted to talk about corporate America just to level set people that might be looking at future job prospects because they're in college or wondering if they're experiencing the same thing that I am and they're like, what the heck is this? This is bizarre. And you're going to have bosses that aren't going to take responsibility for their mistakes and will blame everyone else. And on the flip side, you'll have some great bosses and some great people that you'll collaborate with, and you'll learn a lot along the way. I did see an article, and it does give me a little bit of hope, that the CEO of Costco was once a forklift operator. He went all the way from forklift operator to CEO of Costco, one of the biggest companies in the US. And people want to work at Costco. That's the job that is really hard to find because the pay is great, the benefits are great, they treat their employees well, and they are a good example of corporate America done right. And I wish more people looked at them and said, how can we take some of the things that they do and implement it into our own company? And so if you're watching this, which I'm assuming you are, that's how you've come across my video, and you're working corporate America as well, let me know what your experiences are. I know this was a little bit more brief, and I could definitely go into more detail with a lot of these points. But at a high level, that's just how I feel about corporate America. Thank you so much again for watching. I really do appreciate you stumbling upon this video, and I hope to see you in a future one.